the suspense, and I actually love cheesy horror films just because it's just so cheesy. You just can't not love it.
I do. Why? Probably because I'm a little bit morbid. I don't know. I've always watched them, so yeah.
Of course I do, yeah. Because the thrill behind it. I don't know. I like the classic ones more, like The Shining, that really have that eerie sense to them, and I don't know. I guess violence is pretty big these days. So.
Yes. It gives me excitement, I would say. It just keeps you makes you wonder. It gets you thinking. Yeah. It's my attention all the time.
Yes, I do. Very much. I like to recreate them because in a lot of ways it's cheap. You can be silly and have a good time, but to be good at it is a challenge. I mean, because we're so used to, what we see on screen and we know it's fake. But to really bring up that suspense and that thriller feeling, is a fun one to get at. And when I think people do it successfully, it's awesome. And yeah, I praise them for doing it.
Of course I watch horror movies. Who doesn't? I watch them for the thrill, and I watch them for the thrill. It's kind of exciting being scared.
Do you think horror movies are bad for kids?
Yeah, if they watch them at too young of an age, then I guess they can develop nightmares or whatever. I wasn't that type of kid, but I've heard rumors.
What attracts you to horror movies?
The scarier the movie and the celebrity that's in it.
Why do you think horror movies exist?
To scare little children. 'Cause shit, that's why I will make a horror movie. Scare the fuck out of a child.
So what attracts you to horror films?
Sometimes they're funny, or they actually might be scary every once in a while.
How do you react when you're watching a scary movie?
Depends on the movie. If it's actually scary, I might jump a couple times or laugh at my friends when they scream.
What makes a horror movie scary to you?
If it could actually happen, like I could see somebody popping up in my window right there, it's over. I'm be at the front door.
My name is Carly Bergman, and I'm a dramaturgy and theater criticism student at DePaul. It's hard to say. I would say the more realistic ones could be morally reprehensible, but then again, it's hard to say what is morally reprehensible in a culture. I mean, the Romans put Christians into a Colosseum with lions and watched that for entertainment. And yeah, we can look back and say that's morally reprehensible, but it was a cultural expression and form of entertainment at the time. I don't think in general, I don't think horror movies overall are morally reprehensible until, like I said, they get too realistic, and then we have to question ourselves as to why we want to watch a person be disemboweled, or why we want to see the prolonged suffering of another human being. And I think it's morally reprehensible maybe not to want that, because that could just be a cultural or deep human psychiatric thing. But I think it may be morally reprehensible to buy into that need.
James Nelson, and I am a mental health therapist.
Mind or morality, do you think?
Well, it depends on what's already in the person's mind. So, you could have a person that would have a life story that would be the kind of life story that a horror movie might trigger things with them. About violence, about fear, just any number of things. It's the conditioning that we come into an experience with. So I think the range of what's possible in horror movies is in terms of somebody's reaction to it, is as varied and diverse as human beings are.
I am Jason Davis, and I'm the festival director for Festival Festivals of Fright, which reigns over the Chicago Horror Film Festival and the Indie Horror Film Festival. Brings in good moral values. A good horror film, in traditional sense, the evil get punished, and the evil gets punished, and the good prevails. So it's usually the innocent ones that usually survive, while it's usually the ones that deprave and get into sin that die and get killed. So,
Why do you think horror films exist?
well, people have the basic need of wanting to be afraid. I think that's a part of it. I heard Wes Craven once say that, and I think it's true. That people have the basic need of wanting to be afraid. I think it's also, from the creative aspect, people like to try to scare people. You know, there's a certain group of people that just love to scare people. And on the other side of that coin, in a way, I think some people like to watch them just to say, okay, this could happen, how can I prepare against it? So you got all types of people that love horror films. Yeah, I wish I could give you a better answer. I feel that the horror genre is something that will always be around. It's, if you go back to even the first silent films, they had the first horror film, which is, the train coming at the camera. That was considered to be the first horror film. And since then, it gets people's senses going. It gets them excited. Now, in the group aspect of being in a theater, I can understand why people love horror films, just because of you get that whole group atmosphere. You get to laugh at being afraid. But then when you're at home watching them, your senses get scared and you just enjoy it. It's a fun night just to see if you can scare yourself like that.
Great. Do you believe that horror films are necessary in our culture today?
Is anything truly necessary? Did we have to spend so much money on making a film like Avatar? I would feel out of any genre, this just comes from my background, that if any genre is most necessary to films, I feel that, the horror film is the most necessary of the horror genres, but that's to say if any are movies necessary to be made. So, I feel that if any genre is the most necessary out there, it would be the horror genre.
Okay.